All right. So this is for Anatomy Physiology 1, College and High School, Chapter 5, the integumentary system. Okay. So the integumentary system is called the integumentary system, not just the skin system, because it includes accessory structures, your hair, your nails, the glands within your skin, all those. And skin is an organ um, because it contains epithelial tissue on the outside, connective tissue, nerves, muscles, all those things. This is just how the integumentary system is organized. The cells that are in the body, all the way up to the integument itself, it's an organ. It's also known as a cutaneous membrane because it's very sensory orientated. And it covers, of course, the outside of your body. It's your largest organ by surface area and weight. 16% of your body weight is due to your skin. Your thickest skin is on your heels and your thinnest in your eyelids, and we lose almost a kilogram of skin a year. That's what makes the major part of our dust in our households. The purposes or the functions of the skin are not just for protection. That's very important. That's your body's first line of defense is your skin against foreign invaders. Regulates your body temperature through generation of goosebumps, for example, when you're cold. Sensory perceptions, it tells you if you're hot, cold, if there's pain. Synthesizes vitamin D when the sun hits your skin. It activates the pro-vitamin D to the full vitamin D form, and also for facial expression. Your skin contributes to that. Fabulous dimples and wrinkles and all those things. And then it's also an important reservoir or holding tank for blood in your body. So the major layers that on the outside we have the epidermis. Epithelial tissue makes that up. Beneath it, it's the dermis, largely due to or made up of connective tissue. And below that is the subq, also called the hypodermis, made up of areolar and adipose tissue that attaches that upper two layers to whatever's underneath it, like muscle. And there's a wonderful picture. This is about how the skin contributes to disease resistance. You can watch that. You need to know what each of these mean. In class, I will go over the synthesis of vitamin D, draw a few things on the board for you. Dermatologists are a doctor that's treat disorders of the skin, all layers of the integumentary system, like acne. Here's just an image of the three types of burns. First degree just damages the epidermis. Second degree, the first two layers, and then third degree, all three. Excuse me. The cells within the skin are diverse. The epidermis, the upper layer of skin, is composed of or made up of what is known as keratinized and that stratified squamous, so many layers. And keratin is produced by one of the main cells in the skin called a keratinocyte. And they release this protein called keratin. It gives, will be talked about in this next slide. Keratinocytes, they produce keratin, this tough protective protein in the skin and in the nails. You have a lot of keratin. Melanocytes are a pigment-producing cell that releases a pigment called melanin. It actually is protective in nature to protect your skin against light. Langerhans are an immune system cell. And Merkel cell is involved in sensation touch. It's a cell that you can find in the skin. The epidermis itself has 4 layers in the thin skin and 5 layers in the thick skin. The lowest layer is the stratum basale, always the lowest, and make sure you note that continuous mitotic cell division, cells are constantly making new cells in that lower layer. This is where the melanocytes, or those pigment-producing cells, reside. They're located. And then the next layer up is this stratum spinosum. And then the third layer is the stratum granulosum. When you get to the third layer, the cells are not actively divided anymore, and they are filled with keratin. So bottom layer, actively divided, alive. Third layer, the cells are dead and full of keratin. The fourth layer is only present in the thick skin, so the fingertips, palms, and soles. And then the outermost layer is the stratum corneum, many layers of flattened cells, those squamous, and all that's left is just the keratin proteins in them. And those are the cells that are continually replaced and shed. Keratinization is the process in which cells lose their inner contents and are replaced with that protective protein keratin. Some times in your skin you can develop calluses or corns, for example, in areas of your skin where you have constant friction. This actually causes your skin to produce even more keratin, so more tougher protection in those areas of the skin. And dandruff is also excess keratinization of the scalp. Here is a photomicrograph, so underneath the microscope, the 5 layers of the epidermis, and this is a sketch of it, that bottom layer. You should be able to recognize and name different parts of the epidermis from looking at a picture and name them. The epidermis has thin skin and hairy skin. Thin skin, or thin and thick, Thin skin is usually hairy. Well, it is hairy. Sometimes the hair varies in color and length, though. And hairless skin is on the thicker parts of your body. So, pigments in the skin, so your color of your skin is largely due to melanin. And it's produced by those melanocytes in that bottom layer. And your skin color, your eye color, your hair color is a genetic in nature. The type of melanin, the amount, is different from person to person. Brown to black color is produced by eumelanin, and yellow to red coloration is due to pheomelanin. Freckles are produced, as you can see in this beautiful lady or girl, that it's concentrated melanin. And freckles, like you can't see my freckles in the winter, but in when I'm in the sun a lot, my freckles pop out, so they're activated then. And having more freckles is a genetic trait. And this is just an expanse on pigmentation of the skin. Other pigments that contribute are keratin. If little kids eat a lot of carrots, their skin can get a little orangish in color. And hemoglobin is that protein in your blood cells. You know how I don't know if you've ever seen how people kind of look bluish, like I do. It's due to hemoglobin protein. That says that. And then also rosy cheeks are due to hemoglobin. All right. Other things, pigments of the skin. Nevi are birthmarks or moles, but they're benign. So here's a mole. Benign means non-cancerous. Malignant melanoma is when those melanocytes actually are cancerous, and that appears on the surface of the skin as a black, dark mark, and that melanoma is the worst type of skin cancer. The dermis, so beneath the epidermis, is composed of connective tissue, many collagen and elastic fibers that keep the skin, when you're younger, not as loose, it's more tight. A few different parts of the epidermis we're going to look at. The papillary region just below the epidermis contains areolar tissue. And also these little ridges called dermal papillae, where we're going to have free nerve endings and corpuscles for sensing touch. So here's the epidermis here and the dermis right below it. So the dermis right here. This is the papillary region on top, and then below that is the reticular region. Okay. And the reason why I have a picture of stretch marks here, because if this area gets stretched, that is what causes stretch marks. Now, stretch marks are something that can never really go away. And stretch marks can be caused by growing or losing, actually mainly just growing in size. Growing fast in height, for example, can create stretch marks. Pregnancy can cause stretch marks. So it creates these tension lines in that layer of the dermis pulls it. Plastic surgeons, these are natural tension lines in the skin right there in that layer. Plastic surgeons will cut along those lines to minimize the scarring produced from surgical procedures needed. And those little ridges right here in the skin, I'll go back to this picture. This little line, these curves right here, whoop, 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 they are the basis for how your fingerprints appear and footprints. The reason why we have these ridges on our skin is to increase the firmness of the grip by increasing the friction produced there. Isn't this a cool picture? So this is a close-up of the ridges produced from those little waves in the skin. In between them, you have actually sweat pores. Again, a beautiful picture of the skin. You'll have to be able to identify and name parts of the skin in cross-section like that. So below the dermis, you have the subcutaneous layer, which is the hypodermis as well. Its job is to connect that epidermis and dermis to whatever's beneath that. It contains thicker blood vessels and nerves. It also contains some nervous tissue, Pacinian corpuscles that are responsible for detecting deeper pressure in the skin. So the reason why your skin has multiple layers, the benefits of that, allows skin to specialize. So the epidermis will resist damage because it has the keratin, many layers that slough off for protection. The dermis can give you temperature stability so your body doesn't fluctuate too easily, and so you can maintain homeostasis, prevent dehydration, and with some healing involved. And then the sub-Q with the adipose tissue in it, it's going to insulate your body, store fat, and anchor the skin to what's ever underneath it. The different sensory receptors within those layers, many different types. They can be categorized in different ways. Touch receptors have light touch, pressure, vibration, itching, and tickle receptors. Superficially, so closer to the surface, they're Merkel discs, free nerve endings. Nociceptors are pain receptors. Deep are the Pacinian corpuscles. Here's just a picture that I put in there. Different things your skin can sense: pinching, pain, feather or tickles. That's cold, and the different layers that they reside in. Thermoreceptors look like that. Meisingers are more closer to that epidermis. These are pain receptors, and Pacinians are deeper that touch. So that is the end of part 1.